Hi, my name is Mr. Bryce. I'm with Susquehanna Valley High School in Conklin, New York, and we are going over the practice quiz. So in a couple of days, we're going to have a quiz. The first thing this says is plot the point. When you are plotting a point, you remember that the x value comes first and the y value comes second. It's alphabetical order. We are plotting a point. We are not doing related rate. We are plotting the point. 0, 2. X direction 0, y direction 2. Got it? It's a coordinate. So here I am above the x, which is 0, and I am at level with the y value, which is 2. That is plotting the point 0, 2. From that point, move a related rate of 3/4. Related rate is your change in y over change in x. So from that point, do a related rate of 3, change in y of 3, 1, 2, 3, change in x of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and plot that point. Write the coordinates of the new point. The coordinates, x value is 4, y value is 5. Plot the point 0, -3. In the x direction, go 0. In the y direction, go -1, -2, -3. Plot that point. That's what it means. We are above the 0 or below the 0, and we are at the same level as the -3. From that point, move a related rate of 5/2. Remember, related rate is change in y over change in x. 5 is our change in y. We're there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, change in x. What are the coordinates of the new point? I am above the 2 or below the 2, but in this case I'm above the 2. And I am at the same level as that 2. So the coordinates are 2, 2. Do this a little faster. Plot the point 0, -5. X value 0, y value -5. From that point, move a related rate of 1/3. The change is 1 over 3. 1, 2, 3. There is the new point. What are the coordinates of the new point? I am above the 3 for the x value. I am at the same level as the -4 for the y value. Now let's take a look at the next one. Plot the point 0, -1. 0, -1, and 5, 8. I am above the 5. So I'm above or below the 5, and I am at the same level as the 8. I'm above or below the 5, and I am at the same level as the 8. The x value is 5. The y value is 8. What's the slope, or what's the related rate between those 2 points? I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Change in y is 9. Change in x is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Plot the point 0, -4. Do these a little faster. And negative 4. I'm above the negative 4 in the x direction, and I am at the same level as the 5 in the y direction. Negative 4, 5. What's the slope between these 2 points? So now you will notice that these are going downhill, so it's going to be a negative slope. What's the change in y? Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, negative 9. Change in y is negative 9. Change in x, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, why do we say it's going downhill? Well, we read from left to right. Left to right is how we read. It's going downhill from left to right. So there it is. Graph the line x equals 2. Now, you might say x is 2 right there, and it is. Well, guess what? This is the point x is 2, y is 2. This is the point x is 2, y is 4. This is the point x is 2, y is 6. This is the point x is 2, y is 8, and so on. So what I'm doing right now is I am actually graphing the line x equals 2. It's a vertical line, x equals 2. Don't forget to label it. That's done with the first page. Remember, you can always rewind. Graph the following line. If you're not using your graphing calculator, you know how to graph these. You can use the Y button on your graphing calculator, or we start at negative 3. We start at negative 3 because we plug 0 in. Y equals 1/2 of 0 minus 3. 1/2 times 0 is 0. Y equals 0 minus 3. What's 0 minus 3? Y equals negative 3. So when x is 0, y is negative 3. X is 0, y is negative 3. That's the first point that you plot. Now, the related rate, the rate of change, delta y over delta x. Delta y is 1. It's positive, so we go up 1, and we go over 2. That's the second point. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and we have a line. Don't forget to label it with the equation y equals 1/2 x minus 3. And we have finished graphing that one. Now, nice that Mr. Bryce gave you mostly the same question. It's in standard form. We don't have to solve for y. Y is already by itself. We start at negative 3 for exactly the same reason as before, and then we do the related rate. Now here, am I going to do a line? No, because this is an inequality. For less than, it is dotted or dashed, whichever you want to do, and that is solid. So one more thing that we have to do, test it. Pick your favorite point. Did you pick the same point as I did? Oh, you picked 0, 0. Let's see if we're going to shade. Is 0 less than half of 0 minus 3? Is 0 less than negative 3? Is 0 degrees Fahrenheit less than negative 3 degrees Fahrenheit? Absolutely not. No, don't shade the side that has a smiley face. Shade the other side. Graph the following. Ooh, y is not by itself. So, what do? Put an anchor on y. Whatever you do to the left-hand side, you have to do to the right. 2y equals negative 3x plus 4. I immediately recognize we're going to have a negative slope. Divide by 2, divide by 2, divide by 2. Y equals negative 3 halves x. Leave it as a fraction, and then plus 2. Now here, I immediately recognize that we have a negative slope. We have a positive y-intercept of positive 2, but it says go down 3. 1, 2, 3, and over 2. 1, 2. You always run to the right. Down 3, to the right 2. Down 3, to the right 2. 3 over 2. Delta y, change in y, over change in x. This is an equation, so we always use a line. Label it with the original problem. I said the original problem. 2y plus 3x equals 4. Nothing to shade because it is a equation. Now here it says graph the following, and it is an inequality. We have to solve for y. We put an anchor over the y. We subtract 3x. We get 2y is less than or equal to negative 3x plus 4. Divide by 2. Y, did I divide by negative 2? No, I divided by positive 2. So I don't change the direction of the inequality. The inequality stays exactly the same. I can type that into my graphing calculator to see what happens. Or I can start at positive 2 and go down 3 over 2. Down 3 over 2. Down 3 over 2. Now, that has the equal sign to it, and as I said before, that means we graph it with a solid line. Take our favorite point, 0, 0, plug it in. 2 times 0 plus 3 times 0, is that less than or equal to 4? 2 times 0 is 0, 3 times 0 is 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. So is 0 less than 4? Is 0 degrees colder than 4 degrees? Absolutely yes. So we shade yes, shade the smiley face side, we shade 0 side. Graph the following. Okay. Remember, whatever you do, we got to get y all by itself. So we add 5x to both sides. Remember, if I'm going too fast for you, just hit pause or hit rewind. Now we bring down the 2y because the y is not moving. 5x minus 6. Remember, we can put the addition part first. That stays with the sign. Now we divide everything by 2. Everything we divide by 2. Y equals 5 halves x minus 3. So we start at negative 3 and we do a slope of 5 halves. And we label it with the equation of the line, the original problem. Okay, now let's graph this. We solve it exactly the same way and graph. Remember, I didn't divide by a negative, so I don't change the direction of the inequality. If I did divide by a negative, I would have to change the direction of the inequality. And it is a dotted line. Now let's figure out which side to shade. So I'm going to plug in 0 is greater than 5 halves times 0 minus 3. Is 0 greater than negative 3? Yes, 0 degrees is better than negative 3 degrees outside. So I shade that side, label it with the original inequality. And that is all there is. If you have any questions, make sure you ask before the quiz.